Hey family, it's Carlos Watson. Welcome back to the show. Guess what? It's our 200th episode. Who knew when we started a year ago that this kind of magic would happen? Thank you for being such a support, from Fauci to her, from Sweetie to Brian Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb. We've had such interesting guests, trendsetters, tastemakers, people willing to be a little daring and fresh. Who knew I would enjoy someone like Barry Jenkins, the film director, as much as I did? So enjoyed Ida Rodriguez, the comedian. What a brilliant soul. Look forward to so much more. And my girl, Gloria Steinem, loved her stopping by. Always enjoy her, always learn from her. Been very lucky to have such good people on the show. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you won't go anywhere. Thank you and gracias for helping us get to 200.
How you doing, RuPaul?
The winner, Bob the drag queen.
Did you think you were gonna win RuPaul's Drag Race?
These hoes don't stand a chance against me. We will call a grown man Waka Flocka Flame. We will look at Dr. Dre, who has a PhD in nothing, but we won't call Caitlyn Jenner Caitlyn Jenner.
Quality for white people.
Did I see that you interviewed Christian Walker?
I believe in reaching across the aisle.
Would you run for office one day?
Yeah, you want to invest?
Hey family, it's Carlos Watson back with a very special episode. Bob the drag queen is stopping by. Now, those of you who know, you know Bob is funny, smart, interesting comedian, activist, musician, reality television star. Obviously won the 8th season of RuPaul's Drag Race, but he is doing so much more. What a good and interesting guy. And wait until you hear the backstory about who his mom was. You don't want to miss it. Hey Bob.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Good. Are you in New York? Where are you?
I am in Los Angeles. I'm in Hollywood right now.
Why do I have you in New York in my mind?
I've lived in New York City for 12 years, and I am in Los Angeles right now. So a lot of people think about me, they think about New York City.
Do you rather do stand-up in LA or in New York?
I've been around the world, and I can say New York City has the best audiences in the world. They're hypercritical, and if they laugh, you know it's because you are killing it.
I won $100,000 3 years ago, and people still think I have money. Okay, listen, that is not how that works. Okay, and I used to live in Alabama. If I still lived in Alabama, they'd be like, what, 3 houses and a trust fund for generations to come? I live in Manhattan. That's like 3 vodka sodas and like a splurge at the Cheesecake Factory with my friends. You know what I mean?
What about hecklers? Do you like hecklers or not?
Well, I'm from the gay bar scene, so I'm used to hecklers. Like, I'm in the gay bar, we have hecklers, like drunk people, like 24/7. So when I went to the like comedy clubs and people were like respectful and quiet, I was like, I felt like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. I was like, I'm not used to nice things.
Wait, now how old were you when you did your first one?
My first time doing stand-up, I was 23 years old. That was 12 years ago. I'm 35 now. I don't want to force you to do math.
Thank you for saving me. Wait, now where did you grow up?
I grew up around the South, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi.
How did you come up with the name Bob the Drag Queen?
My original drag name was actually Kitten with a Whip, based on the old Anne Margaret movie. People call me Kate, they call me Cat, they call me Kitty, and I was like, that's not my name. I was like, what can I pick that no one will mispronounce? And one day I was hanging out with this drunk guy at karaoke, and he was like, give it up for your host, Kate. Isn't Kate amazing? And I was like, Kate, because that's the drag name. I'm Kate. Then I kept joking, like, don't forget me, I'm Kim the drag queen. And by the end of the night, I was like, and please don't forget your host, Bob the drag queen. And I was like, that's actually really funny. And I told my friends, and they were all like, that's the worst name. Don't ever do it. And I said, now I have to.
What was young Bob like?
I just was really a boisterous kid who had a very strong desire to be on television.
So young Bob was not an introvert.
Well, I just always really enjoyed attention, and I'm comfortable telling people that. Like, I was the kid who would yell to my mom, "Look at me."
I love that you said that you just openly needed attention. So what's your mom like?
She really let me express myself from a really young age.
Was your mom into drag? Did she encourage?
My mom used to own a drag bar in Columbus, Georgia called Sensations. I'm also not the only queer person in my family, so I wasn't like I wasn't, breaking new ice. My mom's always had a lot of queer friends, and they got together and opened up a bar, as a collective. And it was quite popular and really kind of a big deal. And
So when did you realize you were queer?
as far back as I can remember, I remember having crushes on boys and on girls, and thinking that I had to hide that.
But you said your mom was very understanding, loving. So who were you hiding it from?
Well, I think I was hiding it from the world at large, because I always say, I've been talking about raising kids a lot lately. Do you have any kids?
No, not that I know of.
If you're watching this right now and you're one of Carlos's kids, please contact us.
Please contact Bob. Please.
So anyways, I've been talking about when you're raising a kid, you're not raising a kid by yourself. The world is also raising your kid as well. Uncles, aunts, school, church. So all the places I went all had a hand in my feeling ashamed of myself at the time. I had come to grips with who I was, but I was not willing to accept it as my truth. I think anyone within a 10-mile radius of me knew. I mean, I was the president of the drama club. I was the choreographer for the step team. So yeah, I think everyone knew. But I do remember being younger and thinking to myself, one of the saddest thoughts I remember thinking was, I graduate high school, make it to college, and then I don't have to stay in the closet for 4 years, and then maybe I can get married, and then I just won't ever tell anyone, and then all I have to do is just do that until I die, and then I'll get to go to heaven. And that was my plan.
Wow. All right. So when did the plan get better?
When I got to college, my first semester at college, I was still closeted, and I remember being I have to get this off my chest. So I went to Spencer's. Back in the day, they had these stores called Spencer's at the mall. I bought these rainbow cufflinks and a rainbow belt, and I wore it everywhere. I wanted to just come out of the closet guns a-blazing.
And you were warmly received.
I was in the theater department at a college, so within that community, I was pretty well received. But I was still going to college in Columbus, Georgia. There would be religious protesters at my school, preaching against loose women and homosexuality and trans people. I've just been so lucky between my family, my friends, my colleagues, my partners. I'm just so lucky to have a really supportive system around me.
I've watched all 109 episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race, and I've noticed you have never once walked into the room purse first.
my God!
Purse first, purse first. Walk to the room, purse first. Purse first, purse first. Walk to the room, purse first.
Did you think you were gonna win RuPaul's Drag Race?
I have one of those moms who just really thinks that I'm just the best ever. My mom really thinks I am better than everyone in the world. So when you grow up with that energy around you, you honestly believe you can do anything. You really think these hoes don't stand a chance against me.
Take notes, maybe I could teach ya. I'm bigger, I'm faster, and I will always beat ya. Get by the these are just the facts. Time to chop a down. Tina! Bring me the axe.
Did I see that you interviewed Christian Walker?
Yeah, I interviewed Christian Walker on my YouTube page. That was wild.
Christian Walker, young, black, gay Trump supporter who is very active on TikTok, son of former Heisman Trophy winning running back Herschel Walker. And his dad's thinking about running for the Senate in Georgia with President Trump's encouragement.
So I stumbled across Christian Walker in my TikToking.
Equality for white people. If that triggered you in any way, you're an anti-white racist.
I remember thinking to myself, is he serious? Can this really be how he feels? Does he really think this way? And then I was I want to talk to him because I believe in reaching across the aisle.
Is he joking or does he really mean it?
He's a very flamboyant gay man. He's yes, mama, I'll get the mocha frappuccino, hold the BLM. So it almost sounds like an SNL character until you talk to him. You're no, this is really how you genuinely feel. But he's also coming from an extremely privileged place. Obviously, his father is wealthy and famous. He lives in Beverly Hills as a college student with no job and drives like a Mercedes or Bentley.
And you had a good, cordial conversation with him, you would say?
I think it was cordial. I think that I was able to offer a rebuttal to a lot of things that he would say in regards to a poor mentality or why the black community is broke. Do you think that wealth can affect people 5 generations down the line?
Absolutely, but I also think
Then in that same regard, poverty can also affect people 5 people down the line. I don't think he's beyond saving. I think very few people are beyond saving. Even Candace Owens isn't beyond saving.
Whoa. Go more with this Candace Owens thing, because I hadn't heard this before.
Candace Owens gets a lot of respect from a lot of conservative people, cis white males, Ben Shapiro's, people like that, who like tout her as one of the good ones. Candace is, like, could talk about anything in the world, but instead she chooses hot button issues like Harry Styles wearing a dress, or Cardi B. Obviously, the reason she's attacking Cardi B is because at the same time, she's promoting her show that's coming out, and then one fuels the other. So then now that she's trending because she's been arguing with Cardi B for 12 hours on Twitter, she's like, my show is trending. And they're like, actually, you're trending because you were fighting with Cardi B.
As W used to say, that's strategery.
Strategery, yeah. But also, as W said, fool me once, second time, you can't fool me 2 times.
Now, my producers were telling me coming into this that you identify as gender non-binary, yes?
Here's a really confusing concept. I identify as non-binary, which means like, I don't identify as a man, I don't identify as a woman, I identify as gender fluid, somewhere on the spectrum. My gender expression is very varied, but when I'm out of drag, I still sometimes wear dresses or heels or something that is a little bit more genderless in my presentation. But I also realize that navigating through the world, people are experiencing me from their side as a queer man. And people who just see me walking down the street are like, that's just some gay guy.
And so if they didn't receive you as that way, and if they received you differently, do you think you would identify differently?
No, not necessarily. Gender expression for me anyway, and I can't speak for other people, for me it's about how I feel and about how I am navigating the world. Because the idea that, so here's something that especially in the Black community, I'm so excited to be talking to a Black man about this. The notion that gender is completely a social construct. And people go, no, it's not, no, it's not. And I say, but it is, but it is. I mean, we gender things that don't even have anatomy. You look at the Statue of Liberty and you call it a she without even questioning it. I remember being really bothered by a lot of people choosing to dead name. When I say dead name is when you're using a trans person's name who does not identify with that name anymore, meaning the name they were given at birth. A lot of people were doing it to Caitlyn Jenner when she first came out. She deserves to have people use her pronouns in her real name, which is Caitlyn Jenner. But I'm so intrigued that sometime in the Black community, we will call a grown man Waka Flocka Flame. You know what I mean?
Right,
we won't call Caitlyn Jenner. We will look at Dr. Dre, who has a PhD in nothing, and just be like, you're a doctor.
Say more about where you think we as a Black community are on a broad set of questions that include gender expression, that include sexuality. Where do you think we are?
I think we're on the right track, but for me, the train's moving too slow. Because there are lots of people who don't have the time to wait for us to get it right. And I am hopeful when I see people in the Black community who are really pushing the boundaries on what it means to express yourself. I always think you can always rely on progress from Black women. Always. A lot of time, as a whole, Black women will get there, and then Black men will show up, a decade and a half later, being like, oh, maybe y'all were right.
Do you think that cis Black men in particular are gonna be that far behind Black women on some of these questions?
In order to deconstruct transphobia and homophobia in the Black community, straight Black cis men are going to have to participate in that deconstruction. Like, for example, maybe the Breakfast Club calling all the men who hook up with trans women, calling them gay and doing it in a negative connotation, making it seem like there's something wrong with them for being attracted to another consenting adult. They are engaging in their own demasculization.
Do you think that more straight, cis, Black men who are in consenting relationships with trans women, do you think that more people will come out and have that conversation over the next year, 2, 3? Do you think there's enough space for those conversations to be had?
I think that more people will come forward, and I think that it also stems from not shaming people for expressing their love to another consenting adult, I can't even fathom why that would be anyone else's business to begin with. I'll never be able to say enough or do enough thank yous to the people like RuPaul, like Sylvester, Ellen DeGeneres, these trailblazers who have made it okay for people like me to be myself.
I want to have a conversation about polyamory. I understand that you're in a loving polyamorous relationship.
I have two partners. I have my partner Jacob, and then I have my partner Ezra. Ezra and I have been dating for about 1.5 years now. Jacob and I have been dating for about 3 years. And also my partner Ezra has a girlfriend, so he has another partner as well. So it is an intricate web of love. And I grew up believing that love only looked like one thing. My ability to love more than one person is very real. And a lot of people are like, but what about jealousy? How do you not get jealous? Whoever said I don't get jealous? I have a lot of the emotions that a human being would have. I get jealous when my best friend hangs out with my other best friend and I wasn't invited. So of course, sometimes I get jealous in life, but it's about, being open and honest with each other and talking to each other, honestly.
What has surprised you the most about being in a polyamorous relationship?
That I could love them both magnificently, and I thought that one person would diminish love for another person, but it really doesn't work that way.
Where does everybody live?
Ezra and I live in Hollywood. Jacob and I live in West Hollywood. So right now I am in my Hollywood apartment with Ezra, who is on the other side of this wall, probably watching Golden Girls on this laptop. And I literally just go back and forth, literally night by night by night.
Hey, TikTok got a brand new challenge. It's called Take It to the Polls and Grab a Ballot. And I don't care if it's raining, grab a coat. Cause there's a whole lot of people that prefer you don't vote.
Now, Bob, would you run for office one day?
My initial thought is no, but maybe down the line when I've had enough, I will. I see myself as more of a community builder than a community leader.
Fast forward for me 10 years from now, where do you think you will be?
I definitely hope to be in a position to offer an opportunity to more Black queer artists, performers, community builders, thinkers. That's why me and my friend Peppermint started the Black Queer Town Hall, which happened last year and we're having again this summer. It is just a caucus of Black queer thinkers, musicians, artists getting together and sharing their experience.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, you want to invest?
That's the right question, Bob. We'll talk afterwards. All right, Bob, I'm gonna do something called rapid fire with you for a moment. Your favorite book?
Color Purple.
Your favorite movie?
Color Purple.
Give me the runner-up. Give me the runner-up.
The Lion King.
And your favorite character in The Lion King is?
Rafiki.
Most interesting thing you've learned about love?
It's not always how it looks on TV.
If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would you love to have dinner with?
Joan of Arc or Kunta Kinte. Actually, scratch both those. Harriet Tubman. She's the first Black superhero. She was invincible. She lived to be almost 100. She was about 5 feet tall. She was severely handicapped from a brain injury. She had narcolepsy. She couldn't read or write, but she is probably the most prolific American of all time.
That's a money shot. That's the best answer I've had on the entire show. Bob, I like the way you think. I really like who you are. Please tell your mother she did a great job.
Will do. She'll be very happy to hear that. If anyone here is watching, feel free to go check us out over my YouTube page at Bob the Drag Queen. And of course, coming back, we have season 2 of We're Here, which is a great HBO real life series starring me, Shangela, and Eureka O'Hara, which we were nominated for an Emmy last year. So I'm really, really proud of the work that we're doing over there. So thank you so much for having me, Carlos.
And Bob the Drag Queen, Crew Talks, take 1, marker.
I just love Bob. I want to take him home and I need help explaining what he was saying to my family. It's so inspiring to hear people like them open up so I know how to communicate to my family about things that I care about.
Bob is one of my favorite drag queens, and drag queens get kind of like put in a box of, a lot of their performance time is at bars, right, and it's a party scene, and so they're performing and funny, and there's a way to be funny and really relevant and aware, and Bob encompasses that. And I think Bob is elevating the trans community in that way and helping people see that they're not just performers, not just there for laughs, not just there for Dave Chappelle punchlines.
If Ozzy was a drag queen, it would be Bob the drag queen. Can't put him in a box. You can't put Ozzy in a box. Like Ozzy, he doesn't close the door to conservatives. He's willing to hear every voice. I'm such a huge fan.
I particularly loved his expression about his mom and how his mom loved him. You know, he didn't lack no love. He was comfortable being exactly who he was. I liked when he said, well, you know, because my mom believed I could do it, I could do anything, you know? So I thought that was special because I do believe that if you have the right people in your life who love you and believe you, you really can do anything.
The whole gender is a construct thing. My son has been calling himself a girl a lot lately, and my first reaction is, oh no, I can't allow that, you know? And then my wife and I, gender is a construct, you know? Like if he wants to be a girl today and a boy tomorrow, that's totally fine. He's still our child. So hearing all that from Bob, it really just sort of resonated with me and allowed me to just identify with Bob, you know?
Hey, I hope you enjoyed Bob the drag queen. What an interesting, smart, thoughtful, lively person. Enjoyed all of the story, loved all the good energy, and I love what Bob had to say about his mom. You know, how wonderful was she? How kind of forward-leaning and forward-looking. So many good things in that story. Before we go, allow me to show a little love to my friends at Curiuma. Now, you know those are my favorite shoes. Head on over to Curiuma.com/Carlos. Pick yourself out a pair. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in next time. You never know who's gonna turn up on this show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and listen. Be safe, be well. We'll see you on the other side.